Coming up right now, it's a new way to ask for divorce thanks to Cameo and a couple of influencers.
Also coming up, the piece of paper that could hold the key to the Menendez brothers and their freedom from life behind bars.
A little bit later on, how the scent of a few good neighbors landed one guy in cuffs.
Oh boy, a Daily Flash starts right now.
Get ready for trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. The fun starts right now. This is Daily Flash.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Jackson.
And I am Mitch English, welcoming you to Daily Flash. So glad to have you here.
Yes.
So glad to be sitting next to you, Jackson.
Likewise,
We'll be checking in with
friend.
Matt Do a little bit later on. He's going to give us a little advice if you get any kind of phone calls. He's going to be talking about that there. So, is your day okay so far?
My day's been okay
Good.
so far. How about yours?
I'm with you, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, likewise,
It's wonderful,
friend.
so it's great.
Do you do the Starbucks ever?
Okay, since somebody got me, this is why I like being next to you. I had no idea you were going to say this.
Great.
She got me an espresso, her old espresso machine. So not as much, and I love that thing. Every morning I'm making
I'm
it. I
so
love
happy you're getting so much great use out of
it.
it.
It is. It's used well.
So Starbucks has had this olive oil coffee on their menu.
Oh, I didn't
Have
know
you
that.
heard about this?
Uh-uh.
So they've got olive oil coffee, olive oil lattes. It was kind of like a new trend that they were testing out at their Starbucks cafes all across the country. You could get it anywhere. Well, they've decided it's not going over so well. So the olive oil infused coffees are going from Starbucks, which kind of reminds me, like, is there ever a time where one of your favorite items on a food menu gets taken off? At Starbucks, they had this thing called now I'm completely blanking on it.
What did it look like?
Chantico. And it was this thick cup of chocolate, hot chocolate. And it was
really?
delightful. And you get a shot of espresso with the Chantico, and it was to die for. But they stopped making it like after a couple of years.
To answer your question, the
Yes.
McRib.
The McRib.
And however, we learned, we
Really?
exposed here on the show that the McRib is never going away. They make you seem like it is, saying this is the last time. Remember that campaign?
Yes.
They had a campaign saying it's going to go away, and it was a lie. It was a complete lie. And it's one of those things where I have to try it. I know it's not healthy. I don't know 100% sure if I like it, but I feel like I have
You
to
have to
have
try it to have the experience, right?
100%, yeah. So it's all psychological too, I guess.
Yeah.
I think though, back to your olive oil.
Yeah.
There are places, I'm sure you know about this, where that's all they sell is olive oil, and it has different flavors of olive oil. It's amazing, and I want you guys to try this. Get some very good olive oil, which, by the way, pay for it, because if olive oil that
It'd be very expensive.
it could be, that's the good kind, because the
Yes.
stuff that's here is not extra virgin. It's been around the block, if you know what I'm saying. But put it on ice cream, just a little bit of on vanilla ice cream, and it's really good. The Italians eat it that way.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really good.
I've never heard
You
of
should try
that.
it. Not a
Okay.
whole lot, but just
a
enough.
little bit.
Gives you that
Okay.
good taste.
All right.
You've heard of Cameo, right?
Yes.
This is where you can go on. You can go to like cameo.com/Mitch English, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yes.
As a plug.
Okay.
And you can actually get personalized videos from A to D. And since I'm on there, like K list celebrities. There's a guy right now, he's making some headlines. He paid for it to make a video to let his wife know that he wants a divorce.
It's just not right.
Who did he get? Somebody famous? Not really. A pair of professional wrestlers. They shared the divorce memo on their social media platforms. They said that they tried to make the devastating news sound peppy by jumping up and down and cheering in the air. The husband claims he couldn't break the news to his wife himself, so he paid someone else to do it, especially those guys jumping around with their hair as such. I think, look, not a good thing to do, especially when you get in front of your judge, and her lawyer is going to say, Your Honor, the good honor, this is how she found out that she got a divorce and play it on there. Imagine that. I would say take whatever you want.
Oh my gosh. Now, I'm sure that maybe these guys are wrestlers in their native home country of Slovakia, possibly.
Maybe.
I don't know. But look, let's just say she should be thanking her lucky
I think you're
stars.
right.
This is probably a gift that she never expected. So the fact that this guy wants a divorce is probably a good thing.
Right. Two people
Yeah.
with crazy hair and that Lord knows what they do. We're not talking about them. We're talking about
Yeah.
The Menendez brothers.
Yes, Lyle and Eric Menendez could be set free after spending more than
This is
30 years
crazy.
behind bars for the grisly murders of both parents back in 1989. The LA District Attorney, who is up for re-election, by the way, decided to bring the case before a judge just a few weeks before voters head to the polls. The DA has now recommended that the two convicted killers be eligible for parole following time served. The final decision will be left up to a judge, so it's not yet a done deal. Some family members have come forward asking the court to keep the two siblings behind bars for life. Well, another says she believes their story about sexual abuse and provided a letter to the court from Eric to a cousin suggesting the abuse he was experiencing from his father. Now, if a judge agrees to resentence Eric and Lyle, they both would likely walk out of prison after serving 30 years.
And, with these two movies that had come out, one a documentary, or somewhat of a documentary, and the other one a portrayal of what docudrama that happened in there, it kind of obviously brought up. And then, as you said, election is coming.
Yeah.
Garagos, I think, Mark Garagos is still involved in this.
The attorney for the family member who's found this letter.
So, yeah, and this is the same guy that represented Michael Jackson.
Yes.
So he's trying, everybody's just, it's L.A. Yes. Everybody's trying to get their time.
You know who else has their hand in the pot here?
Tell me that.
Kim Kardashian.
Okay, now I would imagine that there was probably a connection there because of her father.
And apparently that they were friendly with O.J. Simpson. Like they knew O.J. Simpson back in the day, the Menendez brothers. Like their family knew him.
Yeah, because his dad hired O.J. for Hertz commercial. Remember the Hertz? Because he used to work for Hertz.
Yes.
And there's a scene in one of the docudramas where he's talking to O.J.
Yes.
And they knew each other in that case. But, we're talking about lawyers and we're talking about, of course, Kardashian and also with OJ and Robert Shapiro. I don't know if you saw one of those pictures around there as well. So.
I have an issue with this because I understand that you may have suffered abuse. There's no proof of that yet other than this letter that they've been able to find. But the fact is, you blew both of your parents away. You murdered them in cold blood, and you didn't just shoot them once. You shot them repeatedly,
went back,
and then finished off the mom, and then after that, you went on a wild shopping spree.
And I have said this all the time, and I know it's ad nauseum me going on, and I just take responsibility.
Yes.
If they would have said, we did it, and they didn't do that for a long time, and then they said, well, we did it because of this.
Yes.
It's like, I've never heard them say what we did was heinous, and we murdered them, and and what grief that outside, like their aunts and uncles are experiencing. You took away their brothers. I've never experienced that, and I think that's what the judge should take in consideration, is how much of grief that they can get back, and they can't. And here's the thing. If you want to know, you never get justice in a murder case. There's no such thing as justice in a murder case. So keep that in mind as well. We move on now to Greece, where one man there was given a 1-month prison sentence for sneaking into homes at night and smelling his neighbor's shoes. We're not joking. He's 28 years old. They call him the sniffer. He couldn't explain why he had such a foot fetish. He was put on probation, ordered to seek therapy. One neighbor left his family's shoes outside so that they could air out, and the man found it and started sniffing them. And this wasn't the first time he's actually been caught. In the past 6 months, 3 other incidents reported. Neighbors have asked the man's family to get him some help. Obviously, this is not what you do in normal society. So there is an issue there, and maybe he can get some of that help. Now he's in jail. He could smell all the inmates' shoes if he wants to. There's something mental there. And I'm not saying but something that needs to be diagnosed for somebody, because I got to tell you, I have a 13-year-old in the house, and
you know when he takes out his shoes.
I know he's in the house. Yeah. I don't know what it is. At the age of 13, 14 or whatever, boys' shoes just stink.
Just boys' rooms in general, I think, at that age. It's like, what in the world happened in there? My goodness.
He comes home from crew, and I'm sitting in the truck, and I'm trying to talk to him, and I'm like, I can't, man. I got to roll down the window. I feel bad.
Yeah, but.
But it's. And I get it, because it happened to me too. But man, you got to take a shower.
Add the lovely Florida sunshine and the heat of the summer. That's also a big deal. Just for this guy's safety, I'm thinking, he could potentially get shot for trespassing if he's not careful. So just for his own, not only his mental health, but for his physical safety.
And there are parts of the country where people don't understand mental illness like this, and they go, man, you freak, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Hey, I want to give you an update on a story. A few weeks ago, we told you about a baby that was born in the parking lot of a microbrewery. Remember that story? Well, his parents decided to include the name of the business in his name, and now the business is actually created a special brew to honor the newborn.
Love it.
One Well Brewing celebrated the arrival of Forrest Wells, coming up with his very own ale. The beer has been named Special Delivery. Isn't that nice? The brewer's owner joked that it's going to be another 21 years before the baby Forrest Wells can actually come in and enjoy a pint. The new One Well promise is that if you have a baby in their parking lot, from now on, the baby gets free beer for life. I'm not sure if you want to promote that.
Once they turn 21.
Yeah, once they turn 21. 21 and beyond. I don't know if I'd put that out there. It's like, okay, your water broke? No problem. Let's go down to the brewery really quick. All righty, we're going to have a doctor coming up here talking about a very serious issue here about opioid crisis. And he does this after coming clean about his own experience.
Yes. And is it true? Another Stargate? Mitch will explore. Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson. The number of opioid-related deaths began rising in 1999 and has exploded in the past 5 years, to the point where overdoses are now the leading cause of death for those 18 to 45, with 1 million deaths projected in the next decade. Our next guest, Dr. Charles LeBaron, author of the book Greed to Do Good, has a first-person perspective on the opioid crisis, having spent more than 20 years at the CDC and as a physician prescribing opioids as well as receiving opioids himself. Dr. Barron, welcome to Daily Flash.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you say that the opioid war is self-inflicted and is really war upon ourselves. Give us some insight.
Well, I discovered that almost by accident as a patient rather than as a physician. I'd worked as an epidemic control specialist at CDC for 28 years. I'd prescribed opioids in the hot zone of Appalachia. I had worked in the federal penitentiary that was basically had to ultimately be evacuated because it became a center for drug trafficking. However, there's nothing like experiencing really severe pain and then receiving opioids to get an education on what opioids are about. And in my case, I had severe staph meningitis. I had collapsed vertebrae. And then I had disseminated shingles all at once, requiring antibiotics and opioids for pain control. The antibiotics saved my life. The opioids basically saved my mind. And after coming out of that experience, which required months of treatment, both with antibiotics and opioids, I came to the conclusion that I needed to look into the situation a little bit more. And I discovered the antibiotics were very easy to obtain to save the life. The opioids have been very difficult to obtain to save my mind. And the thing that I discovered is that actually it was my old agency, CDC, which had initiated controls over receipt of illicit opioids that actually had given rise, as best I could determine, to an epidemic of overdoses from illicit opioids. So this was shocking to me because obviously I'd worked for CDC for more than a quarter century, and to find that CDC seemed to be at the center of a amplification of a problem rather than the control of a problem, that made me want to investigate further and ultimately write a book about it.
So tell us about your near-death ordeal as a patient taking opioids.
Well, I had really severe pain that went on for months. And when you have collapsed vertebrae, when you have disseminated shingles, every moment seems like it's an eternity. And the only thing that would control that pain were opioids. But it became perfectly apparent as the time went on that there were enormous obstacles to getting adequate opioids. And those arose from guidelines which CDC had implemented, I think in a well-meaning sense, because there's a prescription opioid problem. The effect, however, was to displace people who had legitimate reasons for getting opioids into the illicit market. And the illicit market is characterized by basically raw materials from China brought into Mexico, assembled into very dangerous versions of opioids, and then brought into the country in the false bottoms of trucks. And then there's an extremely effective illicit distribution network that basically became a substitute for the licit opioid distribution system, and basically has contributed to just an explosion of opioids overdoses, to the effect that after CDC put into effect its guidelines in 2017, there's been a doubling of the number of opioid overdoses.
Dr. LeBaron, thank you so much for this information. The new book is called Greed to Do Good. It's available at Amazon.com. We appreciate you sharing your incredible story with us. More on that book on Amazon.com. All right. Mitch.
Thanks so much. Are you sucking the life out of your friends? Actually, some people can just drain your energy, and not in a fun way. They're known as energy vampires. I want you guys to listen to this, because these people can really take a toll on your emotional energy.
Yes, that's true. And there are many different types of emotional vampires. So let's start with the first type, the chatterbox. Have you ever left a conversation realizing you did most of the talking? Well, it could be a habit that is pushing your friends away. Now, we also have something known as the manipulator. This energy vampire, they seem to only reach out when they want something, whether it's an invite or advice.
Next, we have Negative Nelly. Do you see the glass half empty? Well, having to refill your cup and reframe your mindset can actually take a lot out of your friends. Trust me.
True. Gosh. Yes. Next up, the gossip. Most people love to get together and have a little gab sesh, but when you're gossiping is always about others and judging everyone, it can get exhausting.
And finally, the showboat. It's normal to talk about your accomplishments with your friends, but some people have a talent for just turning every conversation around and making it about themselves.
Yeah, we know those people, don't we? Finally, we have the eternal victim and the martyr. Is the world against you? Well, if you're always acting like the victim or a martyr, your friends might soon say they've had enough.
All right. Now, great book it goes all through there, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes,
and they talk about all of these. If you have to talk about yourself the entire time, first off, that person does not care about you at all. So ask questions. That's the biggest thing.
Red flag.
All right. More Flash coming up right after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English in the Flashback Room, and it is time to find out if it's absolutely, no doubt, unbelievably, is it true email that you got. If it actually is, absolutely no doubt about it, it's true. Earlier in October, a Facebook post is getting fans pretty stirred up about showcasing what it claimed to be a poster for a Stargate remake. Here's what the post actually said. Stargate returns to theaters. Chris Evans stars as courageous Colonel Jack O'Neill, with Rami Malek as the brilliant Dr. Daniel Jackson. Well, the reboot of the 1994 sci-fi film suggests that Chris Evans would step into the boots of a character that Kurt Russell originally brought to life, and Academy Award winner Rami Malek would be a part of the star-studded lineup. They even attached a poster promoting the release of the Stargate with that Stargate signature portal. So, is Hollywood really ready to open up this gate again? AJ and Matt, what say you?
I say no.
No,
I'm not buying it.
I hope not. I am so against all of these remakes.
Yeah.
It's like there was that rumor out there they were going to remake Back to the Future for a minute. And I'm like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hopefully say this isn't true.
Well, here's the deal. You're right. It ain't happening. Not yet, at least. But I got you're going to find out why exactly people are talking about. The latest Facebook post, it's from some dude called Yoda BB Abby, which, this theaters always go to like people on Facebook to promote new movies, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. The sad thing is, this is not even an original idea. Back in February, entertainment outlet The Direct fueled the remake chatter by featuring another poster, this one teasing a version of Stargate supposedly starring Chris Evans and and Rami Malek with a June release date. But here's the kicker. Neither Evans nor Malek list Stargate on their upcoming projects on IMDb. And you can't blame the fans, though. Rumors about a Stargate revival have actually been simmering for years, and they picked up some steam on YouTube back in 2014 when MGM's chairman said that his production studio was teaming up with Warner Brothers and the original Stargate director, Roland Emmerich, to reboot the movie as a trilogy. However, a couple years past, 2016, the original film's writer and producer Dean Devlin told Empire magazine that the plans for that remake had just fizzled out. So as of right now, there is no return to the gate in the works. It's just some clickbait from fan-fueled flights of fancy. So please, please don't pass it along. It's not real. By the way, James Spader, the original script, he hated it, thought it was stupid. They did a few rewrites. There was a television show. I actually watched it. And even when they released it out, some of the original movie, the early pre-release screenings of Stargate, people were laughing and walking out. They had to do a total rewrite on some of the characters as well. So a little insight there on the original movies. That's your Is It True? Because it's not. Gang, back to you.
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
Me too.
There's some of those classics that it's like, just stop. Even when
Yeah.
they come
Leave
out,
it
they're a
alone.
disaster, but then everybody loves them. It's like, just don't touch it.
Sometimes I think what they're doing when they do this stuff is they're fishing to see how much interest there is. And if there is a lot
That's
of
a good
interest,
point.
then they'll end up pushing this project through.
To see if there's any money out there.
Yes, exactly. Well, a few weeks ago, we told you about a college professor who claimed he could no longer afford rent and was essentially homeless. Word has it the university just placed him on leave and he could soon be jobless.
Wow.
Dr. Daniel McEwen, an astrophysicist professor, shared the update with his followers. He called out his employer, UCLA, and said his $70,000 a year salary was not enough to cover his cost of living. Now, he admits that he was actually demanding the university pay him $200,000 a year to cover his $2,500 rent and expenses. He said UCLA had removed him as a course instructor after his video went viral criticizing the university.
You can't do that.
McEwen also called it a temporary leave with conditions if he wants to return to his position. It's hard to feel sorry for the guy.
And he's an astrophysicist. Like, couldn't you go get a job with SpaceX or NASA or something else and then not complain about? I mean, 70 grand in LA though.
Doesn't go very far.
That doesn't go
it's
very
35 by the time they take out the taxes,
Yeah.
and I'm sure his union dues and all of that jazz. But he says he doesn't want to work anywhere else. He could, but he refuses to move, and he could make 3 times as much.
Go do what everybody else does in LA. Go get a bartending gig.
Or an acting job,
An acting
right?
gig. Go do background work.
Isn't he off during the summer? Couldn't he get a part-time job during
Right?
the summer?
Could he do that? And he's an astrophysicist. You're smart enough to make more money.
Maybe he just doesn't have the common sense smarts.
I think that's what it is. Well, luggage maker Samsonite proves their suitcases can survive the ultimate drop test. Their new carry-on spinner was launched towards space before descending to Earth, where it crash landed. The suitcase was able to descend from the stratosphere at controlled speeds thanks to a self-deploying parachute system. The promotional stunt was in partnership with the marketing agency Sent Into Space. They specialize in sending products sky high to see if they can survive the adventure. Over the years, they've launched a wide range of products sky high, from blenders to Barbie dolls. So, I mean, it's cool. It's a good idea. I mean,
of course.
Elon Musk sent a car into space.
Did you see Fly Me to the Moon with Channing Tatum?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, and
So-
Scarlett Johansson?
so good.
Kind of reminded me of this and the real life version of the products that were used in NASA during the early space days.
And we did go to the moon.
Yeah. Stay with us. The Scene with Doreen is coming up. She's featuring the drummer from Santana. We're back right after this.
This is Daily Flash with your hosts, Andrea Jackson and Mitch English. Trending news and entertainment. This is Daily Flash.
Hi, everybody. I am Mitch English.
I'm Andrea Jackson. This is Daily Flash, your source for trending news and entertainment.
There are some things that I will hold true to, and Jackson, you know me for quite some
Yes.
time and worked together so many times. One thing I just will not do is a potluck dinner, unless I absolutely know.
You and
unless
I are
know
on the same
person.
page with that. Yes.
It's no offense to anybody in
Yes.
this room whatsoever. I promise you. What I always appreciate about working in television is that we would have some camera guys that we would do a potluck, and the camera guys, and they would make the food right there. No problem at all. I'm watching the food being made. I'm great. Okay, we go to Maryland where they have a potluck dinner. Somebody brings in some food, a noodle dish, right? And within 1 hour, 46 people went to the emergency room with severe stomach problems, all right? All kinds of problems. And within 1 hour, all these people. Now, first off, 46 people is a lot. Whoever made this noodle thing. So now you're thinking, okay, if you're making enough food for 46 people, you're not really caring about what's going inside of it, right?
Make it bigger.
Bigger. You just,
what else do we have in there?
I'm going to go in the other room. The cat's jumping in there, swimming in the pot and everything like that. You don't know what's going on. Anyway, and the company didn't have a policy of where you can't bring in your own food.
Okay.
They do now. 100% after 46 people after a noodle dish somebody brought in. Can you imagine that? Your workforce just being brought to a halt?
Yeah, because of some bad noodles.
And the guy, and then imagine being that person. Would you show up to work the next day?
No,
or when you feel better?
No, they were getting revenge for something that happened.
Somebody did something.
Like possible.
Yeah, everybody.
And then even if I know the person, they bring in something chocolate, I'm like, is there X-Lax in this? Like James Bradell, is this X-Lax? Is this X-Lax?
Even sometimes your family members. And my dad, God rest his soul, he used to make a Thanksgiving like a bread pudding thing or whatever. Now I knew my dad. My dad wasn't the cleanliest man on earth. And we would take that to Thanksgiving, and I'm like, all right, y'all can eat that.
All the bourbon in it would kill everything, right?
The cigarette butts and everything. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Richie, you're not supposed to be.
I do remember my dad telling me a story, and I can never eat at another salad bar or food buffet again because he went to this salad bar and he was about to get some salad for his dinner, and he saw some guy dipping his finger in all the dressings and tasting them.
You know why I won't do salad bars?
Which one he wanted to eat. He's like, that was it. I
Not
couldn't.
surprised.
No,
You know-
never again.
Why I will never do a salad bar? Because
The sneeze guard?
Thank you. They have a name for it. That means people have done it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if there's a guard for it, that means there was an issue.
I have seen a man. My hand of heavens walk up to a salad bar, put his hand in the olives, take a bite of them, and then just keep walking. It was the most disgusting thing I ever saw.
I get freaked out at Chipotle when people are leaning over the thing and like doing
What do you gotta
this.
poke?
I'm like, why do you have to do that? Don't.
Boundaries.
You don't need to point.
I think a lot of it changed, obviously, with COVID. We became more and more aware of it, so that sort of thing. But still, I mean, even places like Golden Corral, don't they have
Golden Corral?
they had a huge issue during the pandemic because they're like, you can't do salad bars.
Yeah.
They shut them down.
Tomato vanish.
Yeah.
One of Daytona got caught storing the meat behind the trash.
Behind the trash can, they stored the meat. See, well, I'll never eat it again. There you go. All right, moving
so there
forward.
you go. Cameo is an online platform where you can purchase personalized videos from an A to D-list celebrities.
Mitch English, look for him.
Now, one guy's making
D-list.
headlines after he paid for a video to let his wife know he wants a divorce. Yeah.
Wow.
The pair of professional wrestlers shared the divorce memo on their social media platforms. They said they tried to make the devastating news sound peppy by jumping up and down in the air and cheering. Because, that, of course,
that's what you wanna
helps
hear,
with the
right?
divorce. The husband claims he just couldn't break the news to his wife himself, so he paid someone else, these wrestling celebrities, to break the news to her.
And that's all I need to know about you, sir. If you
Right?
can't do one of the hardest things, and it is extremely hard to do that, but to go hire two dudes with those haircuts to tell you you're getting a divorce, she had to know, though, right?
I would hope so, because if this is the way he tells her he wants a divorce, that's a bigger issue than anything she's probably done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. At least hire Jason Alexander or
Get somebody,
Get
spend the
somebody
money on it.
legit.
Right. We're talking about financially speaking, Fund and Grow. We're going to be using credit cards to get your small business going. It'll make a lot of sense to you when we return.
This week on The Scene with Doreen, I got to sit down with one of Rolling Stone magazine's greatest drummers of all time, Michael Shreve. He's known for playing with the band Santana, and he just released a new album. Check it out.
I read that in your early years, you had a very strong desire to become a priest, but you were kicked out of every Catholic school that you attended.
I don't know why. There's no explaining why, like a boy in grade school would ride his bicycle to 6 a.m. Mass every day. But that was me, and it's a little bit hard to explain, but I think it's kind of the spark that every child has towards something, and I had that. I wanted to be a priest. I wanted to be a missionary. I guess God had other plans. And so my mission was music, and I traveled and brought that, and hopefully brought some joy and peace and happiness to people that way.
So while you were getting kicked out of all of these schools, that's when you discovered your love for the drums.
Continuing in the same vein, I'm now at a public school after getting kicked out of grade school, Catholic school, and I'm in a class, and the teacher asked me to leave and go to the principal's office. So obviously I was doing something wrong again, and on the way back to the room that I was kicked out of, I passed the band room, and the door was open, and the percussion section was right there, and that was it. I just saw the drums and everything, and it all struck me in a way that told me I'm going to be doing this.
You've really become known for your electrifying drum solo with Santana at Woodstock in 1969. That was right out of the gate for you in your career. With over 50 years of working on amazing musical projects, do you ever feel that incredible body of work is overshadowed by that one performance?
Oh, yes, all the time. You know, it's Woodstock. Everybody's telling me how much they love Woodstock, and I'm doing all these interesting projects, and I'm trying to tell them about it. Have you heard this? Have you heard this? You know, can we get away from Woodstock sort of thing? And then one day it hit me, Doreen, where I just realized, you know, just shut up. Just accept it, and just be grateful that there's something that you've done that moves people that much still.
So coming from a Catholic school background and your early desire to be a priest, what was it like playing at Woodstock? Was it a cultural shock?
Well, I had been in that environment now for some years, being in the Bay Area, but of course Woodstock was a whole nother level, a whole nother story, a whole nother gathering of sort of minds and spirit that nobody expected. There was a togetherness. There was a sense of belonging that everybody was feeling there at that time, and that they had made it to a sort of mecca. And the thing felt like, everybody felt like we're really changing things here.
Congratulations on your new album, Drums of Compassion. It really finds a beautiful balance of power, but also tranquility.
I thought to myself, what kind of record could I make as a drummer at 2 a.m. that I would want to put on and help me relax? Mm-hmm. And so this is the answer to that. People could just relax into completely, like let go with that rhythm.
Visit michaelshreve.com, pick up the latest album, Drums of Compassion, and keep up to date with what this talented musician and visionary has in store for the fans next.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
And if you want to hear more of the great conversation, visit here. I'm Doreen Taylor with The Scene with Doreen here at the Daily Flash each week. See you next time.
Hey, welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Mitch English. A little financially speaking, if you will. Can small business owners use business credit cards for funding their company? Well, we got the answer for you. It's Amanda Webster. She's the COO of Fund and Grow. Amanda, hello. I'm an owner of a small business, so there are some great things I can learn here, but there's some lesser known ways that business owners can actually use business credit cards beyond traditional purchases. Am I correct on this?
Absolutely. Business credit is so versatile in all the things it can do. I actually could surprise you and tell you there's actually no limit that you can do with business credit. So you can purchase anything. It just might mean there's an extra step sometimes. Like if you're trying to purchase something and they don't have a merchant account to like swipe the business credit card, there's always a way. And as long as it's a business expense, the sky's the limit.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that. Okay, clothes. I want to get my new suit. I'm going to put it on this so I look great when I go out and do sort of things. Are we talking about that? Or are we talking about, hey, I might need something attached to my car that I'm going to use to haul things around? Where is that? Is that different for every type of business?
Yeah, so it's a business use case. So, I wouldn't say everybody could go out and buy a boat with business credit, but if you're a fisherman, technically that's a business use case. You could buy a whole vehicle if you need a truck to, work out of, if that's your business. So it is dependent on what your use case is.
And that's when I guess we have to talk about the IRS looking at that sort of thing. Is that correct? Is that something that if you can honestly tell the IRS that you can use it, is that some of the things you have to vet through in order you should do before you actually purchase something like that?
Well, there's two different rules there, right? So what is tax deductible or considered something on the IRS side versus what you can use business credit for, two different conversations, but really good to kind of line them up because then you're always in the green that was truly a business expense.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense there. All right, let's talk about business credit cards. There's on most credit cards, there's reward points. Are they similar to, personal credit cards?
I would actually say they're better. So you're going to have the ability to earn them at a higher rate depending on which, lender you have. And you can combine them. So if you have like two different accounts, one personal, one business, but the same lender, you can actually combine those points and earn them faster by using business. And that's a huge thing you can do in business credit is earn those points or even just get cash back checks to your business.
Oh, I love that idea. All right. And are there maybe specific restrictions on a business credit card that business owners should actually be aware of?
Well, you can never pay yourself. Even if you have two businesses, you should never be paying yourself from one to the other. I don't care if you have a merchant account. That actually violates Visa and MasterCard agreements. So you definitely want to make sure you're doing kind of B2B purchases and that they're for your business. That's the main restriction I would look at. And you also can't use it for things like crypto and that type of world. You'll get shut down for those things.
Yeah, they're really scrutinizing those sort of things. And when you say that, so are you saying don't pay yourself out of the credit card, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes.
All right. How can a business credit card actually maybe even improve your company's credit score over time so that maybe you can even get more money loaned to you?
Yeah. So the biggest thing you want to get to is non-recourse commercial lending. And the way to get there is building your business credit through vendor trade lines, business credit cards, business loans. All of those things go together, similar to your personal credit, except you're building this profile on the EIN side, and all of it will start unlocking different tiers of lending as you grow. And it's an amazing thing you can unlock. I mean, we purchased our building on non-recourse commercial credit by using this type of funding.
Wow. Well, then if you're talking about large transactions like real estate, what should those business owners keep in mind if they are going to do that?
So for real estate, you can definitely use it for all different things, for paying for renovations, for actually paying down payments on properties that you're investing in. But you need to make sure that you are clearly following the B2B rules that your service agreement has and finding and vetting the right third party that can actually transfer the money from your business credit card over to the other entity that you're paying for, whether it's an attorney's escrow account or a title company or directly to a vendor like a roofer, doing roof work. You have to make sure you have that vetted correctly.
That makes a lot of sense. Amanda Webster, you always do such a great job explaining these sort of things. And of course, if you want to find out more information on how you can earn and even use business credit for your business, it's easy. All you have to do is go to fundandgrow.com. We'll actually have this interview on our website as well. You can head there at dailyflashshow.com. Very simple, very easy. Thank you there, Amanda. Jackson, what do you got for us?
Mitch, thank you. Well, a mother of 5 has shared her family's shocking approach to getting their daily dose of calcium.
Okay.
31-year-old Divinity Butts.
Wait, what? That's not her name. Come on.
I don't know. I forgot to double check
All
this
right,
one.
we'll say it is.
Revealed that her husband Isaac started drinking her breast milk after a tough boxing session, and now he loves it. He now adds it to his protein shakes at least 3 times a week. The family also uses it for milk baths and to make butter for their toast.
Oh, man.
Despite the online criticism, Divinity encourages others to explore all of its uses. I cannot confirm or deny that the story is true.
Okay, so we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
It is, listen, that's how the body was made for that, so sort of thing. So I'm all for it. And if you breastfeed your kids, that's totally fine. I'm all for it, by all means.
Divinity Maxwell Butts.
Her middle name is Maxwell.
Our research department?
She has 2 last names.
She has two last names.
Our research department is saying Divinity
Maxwell Butts. However, Maxwell Butts sounds like a coffee you would drink in the morning, and it would be a totally different. Divinity Butts sounds like a candy you would eat, but even still, yeah. here's the problem. If you get on Facebook and do this, you'll get on these. It happened to me. I all of a sudden I go, why are so many breastfeeding things coming? Because apparently we talk about it. It's probably going to do it now.
And it's picked up on your phone and it's filling your feed.
I'll take this back to pets. Okay,
Yes.
you can love your pet. You just can't love your pet. You can have breast milk. You can't do it with butter. If that's what's working for their family, God bless them.
Yeah.
But that's a heck of a factory she's got going on there.
She sure does.
And taking baths with it?
Yeah.
All right. We'll just leave it at
if
that.
you're able to produce that much, then maybe there are other mothers that are in need.
Maybe you can help other.
Maybe you can help other.
And that's common, and that happens a lot in a lot of civilizations.
Yeah,
so I
sure.
can buy into that. Can we get out of here?
Yeah,
because I'm really afraid I'm going to say something. Yeah.
Exit ramp
I'm going
immediately.
I'm going to be like CNN the other day with the beeper comment.
Yes.
So I'm just going to shut up. Okay. 1 in 3 adults say that they would have no problem signing a sex NDA to keep their sex lives a secret. The survey revealed 51% of respondents were worried about their private lives being exposed to friends and future partners. 20% said that they didn't believe their partner would be discreet about their sex lives following a breakup. Most agreed they would prefer to sign a non-disclosure agreement before starting a new relationship. Now, experts say it's not healthy to keep intimate secrets from a partner. It's something that they actually could lead to dissatisfaction as well as emotional distance in a relationship. So you got to make sure you do that. Wherever you're at on that, hey, but there are websites out there like talking about ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends as well. More than likely that would ever wind up on it. So maybe it's a good
If
idea.
you've got something to hide, it may end up finding its way out some way, somehow.
Keep that in mind. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Daily Flash. It's, of course, our Wow Wednesday. Crazy stuff happening in our lives.
So you guys know I'm a big Howard Stern fan. We sit here and say
Stern.
Baba Booey all the
Baba
time.
Booey.
What happened to Howard? I'm sorry.
Well,
Got old. I'm sorry.
It got old.
Sorry.
It's in the
We're going to
70s.
get so much hate mail now for us saying that.
Sorry.
But
That's me.
They did a bit the other day, and I've kind of had to deal with this, where they had a fake Liam Neeson prank one of his producers and try to ask for money about fueling his helicopter out of Australia on one of the producers' like older mothers.
Okay.
And it's a big problem out there because she like really believed it was Liam Neeson calling her after she had met him in a bar 30 years ago to ask for helicopter fuel to get out of Australia.
How crazy is it? Oh, basically kind of going off of like calling your grandma and bumming off money.
But pranking them and everything. But it happens so much where these fake celebrities or fake
people buy into
it.
They find these widows and everything. So it's like, it was almost like a public service thing out there. I was like, Mom, like my mom had an incident one time where this guy was like going to send a private jet down here from New York to take her up. And it was after my dad passed. And I was like, Mom, and you hate to break their fuel of that, but it's such a problem out there with all these scammers. And
AI, I think, is also causing a huge thing. So your best advice, coming from me, a tech expert, is that if you get a phone call number, you don't know the number, don't answer it.
No.
A lot of times, because the scam now, they're saying that they can record your voice and then take that voice, turn it into something, and then call your mom using your own voice. And not only that, if they don't do that, they also take like, okay, this is an active phone number. Yes. Somebody will answer. Now you're on a list. So, and I think that's, if you call me and I don't know your number, I'm sorry, leave a message, I'll pick up.
They pry through these people's social media so they can see they're recently widowed. They can take pictures. They can see pictures of stuff and then relate.
And
stuff.
AI can do all that.
AI can do it. And well, the guy, they played the AI voice of the fake Liam Neeson that was calling her from Australia, and it was.
You can't tell the difference.
No, but there were like little hiccups there in the voice, and you're like, that's not Liam Neeson. Come on.
But eventually it will be, though.
Well, it could be, yeah.
So keep that in mind, too. Anyway, we don't mean to scare you. We want you to have a fantastic day. And if you get a phone call from me, it is probably really me. And I need you to bail me out of jail.
Yeah. Well, you know that call's coming from me.
Indeed. All right. Check out our website. Anything you see on the show, you can see again. It's dailyflashshow.com. We'd love for you to stop by. Thank you so much for joining us today. Y'all take care. We'll see you when we look at you.
Be good.
Bye-bye.
Be safe.